I'd like to welcome to the show Bill Boggs, who has, as near as I can tell, done about everything there is to do in the entertainment business. And he's gotten an Emmy. He's a travel writer. He's a news anchor. He's a novelist. He was on TV, Miami Vice. He was an anchor man. I said that.
Yeah.
He worked with Court TV, gave them their best show.
You said Anchorman longer than I was an Anchorman.
Well, it's a perk, you know. It was there's eating on Food Network.
Yeah, that was.
I was reading some of the Spike the Wonder Dog, and the things that happen in this is the telling of his life story. A dog is telling his life story to the narrator of the book. And he seems to be getting involved hilariously with the wide variety of entertainment venues, which parallels what you've been doing. So it therefore falls to a unique kind of satire. I wanted to ask you, in that book, what was your favorite part, that the trouble he gets himself into, besides the obvious one about being fixed?
The one about being neutered. The book, folks, is called The Adventures of Spike. I just happen to have it. I've had so many guests over the years holding up their books. Now I'm holding up mine. That's actually the third book I wrote. The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, as told to Bill Boggs. It's about, as you indicate, it's about a dog who has a master very much like me. The dog becomes a big TV star, and the dog is narrating the book. This is satire. This is R-rated. It's in the tradition of Family Guy. I think that the chapter when they go to Las Vegas. I spent a lot of time in Las Vegas covering boxing when I was working for Showtime. Not blow by blow, but celebrities ringside and promoting the big Tyson Holyfield fights. So I had a good grasp of what it's like at the MGM Grand Arena. And Spike the Wonder Dog is hired by this sleazy boxer who's an entrepreneurial kind of, whose name is Ike I Got Money Piles. And Ike I Got Money Piles has been paid a lot of money to endorse the Max X laxative drone, which has been designed to fly in heavy-duty laxatives to opioid addicts in the Midwest and drop them, right? And their motto is, you plop when we drop. Anyway, so the Wonder Dog has been hired to go up in the drone and fly into the arena and then land in the arena as part of Ike I Got Money Piles walk into the ring. So that takes him to Vegas, and I was able to really hit some funny stuff about reality shows. I created this place, the world's in Vegas. You're just waiting for it out there. The world's first gentleman's water park. You know, with these gentlemen's clubs with the dancers. But how about a water park? And so a lot of stuff happens, and the Wonder Dog, as he generally does, prevails. Also had a thing out there, Dan, where it was a group of holograms who could actually talk to people. It's the Dead Celebrities Hall of Fame. And at the time I wrote the book, Larry King was alive, and they got Larry King to MC the opening night because he looked the most dead. So that's it. That's the most material I can do from the Vegas chapter of The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, designed to make you laugh.
Well, there was another. He got involved with Transcendental Meditation. What was that part in the book for the dog?
Well, yeah, that gave me the opportunity to satirize, all the holistic things that are going on. There was some kind of a big event at Hunter College, and Spike wanted to go to the meat eating clinic, but he didn't go there. He had to go to this meditation clinic run by a guy named Yogi Bob, who was a certified Dwayne Reed meditation. And so he's teaching meditation, and Gilbert Gottfried is in the front row. And Gilbert Gottfried can't relax. He's been in the
No,
class.
not at all.
Yeah. So Gottfried, like when they go into the meditation and the guy is going through all this, they're doing what Yogi Bob says, we're doing a visual meditation. So affix your eye on something and listen to my voice. So Gilbert Gottfried affixes his eye on the Wonder Dog. So the Wonder Dog is looking at him, and somehow the Wonder Dog puts Gilbert Gottfried into a trance. And this leads to Spike creating a thing that makes a lot of money where he and his master videotape him staring into the monitor, staring into the street, and people all over the world are relaxing, looking into Spike's eyes. That's actually only about 8 pages of the book, but it was a fun thing. I've interviewed so many people on the shows over the years, Dan, that I found it easy to write satire. I wrote a romantic novel several years ago that actually ended up being optioned by Renee Zellweger, but was never made into a movie. And I wrote a self-help book. But 5 years ago, I set out, I just committed myself for the rest of my life, essentially, to being a writer of satire. And believe me, it's still possible to find things you can satirize in our culture.
Are you working now on another novel, perhaps another?
I am.
That's what.
Well, as a result, and I want to, by the way, first, it's an honor to be on with you, Dan. All right, Dan, before I tell you about the sequel to The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog, first, I want to thank you for having me on the show. This is the first time I've ever talked to you, and we have over many years in the East Hamptons encountered each other. This is the first time we've ever talked to each other sitting down. We're always standing at an event, with a glass or something like that. So I thank you. And when The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog went out to press, one of the first reviews we got was from your great Dan's Papers, which I've been reading for almost as long as you've been printing it. Bill Boggs channels Spike the Wonder Dog with hilarious results. So what I'm working on right now is a sequel to the book that picks up just as the pandemic is ending. So there's a lot of pandemic humor that we can get in there. Like, for example, are you aware that people, that men in particular now are suffering from something called machine gun elbow by bumping their elbow every day? That's just one of the. So I was able to get a lot of satire into them, 165 pages in, and I think it's even harder hitting than the first book.
I wanted to ask you about Spike himself as he talks to the narrator of the book.
Yeah.
Is he a nice dog? How's he handling all this?
Oh, the fame? How was Spike? Spike, Spike would just as soon be a house pet. He loves Bud, who is a talk show host, kind of based on me. And but he believes you have to do what your master. I know that's politically incorrect. By the way, there's a politically incorrect warning right on the cover of the book. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that, Angela? Politically incorrect humor. Anyway, so yeah, Spike is just happy to go along and do what he needs to do. He'd rather just be, the highest honor he could be accorded is being a professional pet, but he's also a television star at the same time. He's handling the fame well.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yes,
now,
it's important. It's a very important time.
You've also doing something with YouTube that I was. What is that about?
Well, Dan, when you reach a certain point in life, say like the last 30 of your life, and you've been blessed enough to work hard and have a decent career, for years I was thinking, what am I going to do with essentially my video archive? I've always saved, not every show, I've done hundreds and a couple thousand individual broadcasts, but I've saved a lot of it. And so it's about 2008, I started to spend my own funds to digitize these 2-inch tapes, 1/2-inch tapes, 3/4-inch tapes and stuff, and put it on something called Bill Boggs TV on YouTube as a repository of my work. It doesn't mean I couldn't, the Museum of Broadcasting I've donated some tapes to them. It doesn't mean that an institution couldn't have my tapes, but it's been a pleasure to create a YouTube channel, Bill Boggs TV, where I do 2 things. 1, it's a repository of work I've done. And 2, when I do a Zoom cast, I recently had a little series called Trap Live where we interviewed some of our music and comedy friends. I can put my own new shows I'm creating for myself on there. If you give me a link to this, I will put this on Bill Boggs TV as well. So it's Bill Boggs TV on YouTube. It's completely free. It's not a money-making enterprise. If you were doing it, you're smarter than I am. You would be making money from it. I'm just putting my videos up there, Dan.
Where do you live in the Hamptons? What town did you say?
Well, we live in an undisclosed location. We live in the Springs, off Springs Fireplace Road. Like my first, I'd love to talk about the Hamptons. My first experience was in West Hampton with my beloved friend Robert S. Levine, MD, who lives out in East Hampton now. He had a house in West Hampton. I thought, this is great. And then the next year, I somehow made my way out to Sagaponack and Bridgehampton and Southampton, and I went nuts at not, this is 78, not the celebrity angle, just the raw beauty of the trees, the beach, the fields, the sky. And so I was able to rent a house, a beach shack, actually, from Farmer John White,
Sure.
right on the beach in Sagaponack, and there's a 100-acre potato field behind us. I had that for 6 years, but I had to give it up because in addition to doing midday and I was doing Comedy Tonight on the weekends, I was working 7-day weeks, and I had no summer. So I had to give up the house. And then I was so upset at losing the house that I wouldn't go to the, I'm like, in spite, I wouldn't go out to the Hamptons because that would upset me so much. So finally I got over that. And I was out for a wedding, staying overnight at my friend Bob and Joan Levine's house. And my girlfriend, Jane, my beloved girlfriend, Jane, who knows you, Jane Rothschild. We're walking down Main Street in East Hampton. And I said, Jesus, Jane, I love it out here. This is fabulous. I just love it. And Jane says, well, Bill, you're selling your rental property in Ocean City. Why don't you take the money and buy something here? I said, yeah, that's a good idea. I was thinking about just putting it in the account. So I sold the house, and Jane and I went looking, and we found that what we call our patch of earth in Springs. And we love to be a supporter of Guild Hall, a supporter of Bay Street, supporter of the library. And I can hardly wait to get back. We haven't been there because of COVID.
Yeah.
We also have a place in Palm Beach, which Jane acquired. And when the pandemic struck then, we just hunkered down right on the beach. And we're careful. And obviously, you're not talking to a hologram, I suppose.
There you are. Yeah, we don't live far apart from one another. I'm looking out on 3 Mile Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it up here too.
You have done so much for the community in your own low-key Dan's way. You've done an awful lot for the community, and I've looked up to that. And if I can ever help you with anything in the effort to support the community, you now have my phone number.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to ask you one other thing.
I'm in no hurry. I have no place to go.
Okay, I know, but we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. And I thought, of all these different things that you've done in all these areas, what stands out? What comes to mind as most remarkable that you just think about every once in a while?
I think that I've been going through the house I grew up in Philadelphia. In fact, I'm in that house right now. I walked in the door when I was 7 years old, and I happened to be sitting at the table where I used to do my homework. And I've been going through things I've saved from my career. And I would say that the accomplishment of a set goal, saying to myself, now I'm not saying this, to re-promote the book, saying to myself, I've been on television all these years. I'm just going to be a writer now. I'm not going to chase another TV job in my 70s, and accomplishing the goal, setting a goal that within my skill set and accomplishing the goal. So with that in mind, I think that sitting at Elaine's restaurant with Richard Baker, who had been my intern on my show, Southern Exposure in North Carolina, and then became a lifelong friend, and saying, you know, Richard, I'm doing midday, you're working at Lincoln Center, we're both working for the man. Why don't we start our own production company? I'm just sitting there in lanes, like 9 o'clock at night. But that's a good idea because we get along very well. And we're a good fit with each other. So we got up and we did it. We created a production company that produced music shows for MTV. Ian Hunter, Mink DeVille, Frank Zappa. We shot Bobby Short at the Cafe Carlisle, a cultural documentary on the Stuttgart Ballet, and then we hit a home run with a show called Comedy Tonight, which again was just, you know, we're sitting talking, what about a late night show, not expensive to do, that just features stand-up comedians? There was nothing like that on television in 1985, nothing, 84, 85. So we ended up selling it, having distributed to 121 stations. It was on Channel 5 in New York. And because I was hosting it, people thought it was just a local show. The thing was on all over the country for 2 years. And that was really a goal that we accomplished. We booked 423 comedians over 2 years and auditioned more than 2,000 comedians. And some of them have gone on to phenomenal careers. So
Sure.
I look back on Comedy Tonight as that kind of goal that I achieved. And one of the things I discovered in the basement here was a picture of me. I wish I had it, but it's downstairs, of my comedy team that I was in high school and college, of
I see.
Helsel and Boggs, our headshots, you know. The world of comedy is, you know, not the power of laughter. As Norman Lear says, you know, you can actually keep you young. And I believe that. Look at
Well,
you.
thank you
You
very
have
much.
a wonderful sense of humor.
Yes,
Wow. Yes.
I try. I want to thank you for being on the show. I've enjoyed
Oh.
it very much, and I'd love to get together sometime just to go over stuff. We can probably look out the window and see each other. We're so close.
I would love, Dan, I would love it. Honestly, not blowing smoke here. Well, I wish I was, but I'm not blowing smoke. I've admired you for years and everything
thank
you've
you.
done. So when I heard about this from Angela, I've just said, oh, I'm in. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. I'm talking to Bill Boggs, and I want to thank you for being on my show. And we'll see you soon, out and about and standing up.
Yeah, standing up, but we'll have a sit down at some point.
Okay.
Again, thank you.
Bye.